is up, guys? So I'm Justin Lab from Vollstin.
And I'm Justice Calla from Vollstin.
I play guitar.
I play bass.
And we both do vocals.
Haha.
At the time I joined the band, I was into like that post-hardcore Falling in Reverse. My guy, Jackie Vincent, shout out, he was great, but we obviously don't do that type of music and we never have. But Jackie Vincent was a super big inspiration for me on guitar. Van Halen was also just being like that 14-year-old kid obsessed with Eddie Van Halen. And then I guess throughout the years I experimented on and off with music, and I was really into Nirvana at one point. And then I'm also really into like Bring Me the Horizon, and then of course like Wage War, Architects, and a bunch of bands like that, Crystal Lake. They're all really good. And then I also listen to some more obscure music like Highly Suspect, Slaves. New one that I just saw was Oliver Tree. He's pretty dope. Check him out. And then I also listen to like Ghostman and shit because he's pretty cool too.
My main influence when I joined the band, I mean, I've been in the band the least amount of time compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
But when I first joined the band, I was mainly into like kind of like 2010s metalcore, like Miss May I, Parkway Drive, The Ghost Inside. More melodic stuff when it comes to metalcore. Since I've joined, my taste in music in general and like metal has diversified a bit. They've got me into bands like Architects, Wage War, Crystal Lake, like you said. But I mean, I also have a bunch of different influences that I like to incorporate. Shut the fuck up. That I like to incorporate, like, I listen to a lot of indie, like Cults, Tame Impala. I don't know if you count Cage the Elephant as indie, but...
Yeah, I count it as indie.
A lot of punk music too, like East Coast hardcore. MDC, Minor Threat, Black Flag, which is more just hardcore. But,
I forgot to mention those bands, so thank you.
Yeah, stuff like that.
I joined the band when I was barely 15. I think it was September 15th of 2015. So that gives away I'm not a 90s child, sorry. But yeah, I joined the band around 2015 after... like once the member changes, I guess, first started. We went through a bunch of them, and then 2018, after 3 years of going through multiple members, we got Justice, and now it's kind of like all settling in, which is great because we've all wanted to do that for a while now.
Yeah, kind of like he said. I mean, I joined in 2018 when I was 18. I've been in the band the least amount of time, which I mean, at first was kind of, difficult on my end because when I first joined, we were just doing a lot of stuff. And I just kind of had to jump into it, feet first, no getting the toes wet, but...
Straight in the studio.
Yeah, just straight into it, but...
2 months into the band, we're in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big jump right in, because, I mean, they were pretty much already established and doing stuff, and I just had to go right in.
It's interesting, because we were kind of mates, but at the same time, we weren't. Like, I grew up going to Catholic school, same as Alex and Anthony, and then I actually went to the same school as them from 6th to 8th grade. So we were friends in that time period. But I knew them since I was in 3rd grade because they played football in 4th grade. My dad was like the coach because the way it worked was like the schools combined to make one big football team because our schools were small. But I knew them since like 3rd grade, and then in 2015, Alex just like DM'd me one day. I was like, "Hey, you want to join the band?" And then at the time, I was like really wanting to join a band, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll join the band." Met him at Chipotle, and here we are.
Well, I was friends with Justin since like sophomore year, because I met him in algebra class.
Shout out Mr. Dye.
Class was ass, but I auditioned sophomore year. And they said no.
Yep.
But then I auditioned again, senior year 2018, and they said yes. And I mean, I wasn't really friends with Alex and Anthony before I joined the band. Like, I'd met them and talked to them, when I auditioned before, and I kind of didn't have contact with them until I auditioned again. But yeah, I mean, I auditioned. I was really the only one that had to.
Yeah, but also shout out for Justice for auditioning because what happened with that was he tried out sophomore year and he actually like watched our live shows and practiced his parts to them to where when he auditioned, he could actually like play with us. And then we just said no because we were at a really awkward stage of the band and we didn't know the direction we were going. And with Justice, he's always been like super into like metalcore, that type of thing. And at that time with the band, we were unsure of the direction. And not saying that like we weren't going to do metal, we weren't going to do that, but we were just being really open. So we just said no, I guess, because we had some other people try out. And yeah. I wouldn't say I try to sound like another band. I do say that I try to write parts like certain bands. So like for individual songs, I'll try and emulate the way this band does a chorus or the way this band does a verse, or like get inspired like riff wise, like especially with like Slipknot and Wage War. I'm super inspired with their guitarist because Seth from Wage War is phenomenal. He's so underrated, I think. Like that dude can play. Also, Cody's really good too. And then Jim Root has always been really cool for riffs. He's always been doing really interesting stuff in Slipknot. So I would say I'm inspired by parts of bands, not full bands.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the same thing. I'd say there's a big difference between trying to sound like a band and being influenced by a band. Because we don't try to define our sound based on other bands, but like Justin said, we try to write parts that'll emulate bands that we like and listen to. Considering, I mean, we listen to a lot of metal. I mean, it's pretty much 90% of what we listen to. I mean, like Wage War and Architects and stuff. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, we can try to write parts like them, or like even like Slipknot. Like you're saying, Jim Root. As far as my writing style goes, I mean, I may be a bassist, but I try to be diversified, and I write guitar parts, and my main writing style is kind of based off of the same, like, 2010s metalcore stuff I used to listen to and still do. A lot of Miss May-I-esque stuff, and maybe even dipping into like the mall scene, like post-hardcore Asking Alexandria kind of stuff.
I also think that another thing that like kind of defines our sound is like, say I like a drummer, but Alex is unfamiliar with them. I'll like show him like this drummer, and I'll be like, hey, try and do something like that, and then it'll kind of be more of like Alex's version of something I like, which I think is what gives us a really unique style, I would say, especially live. I would say both. I want to create a lot of music and have live shows because it's really interesting when you see like bands play songs that they normally don't play live. So I'd like to have almost like too much music to fit in a set, like so that way it's like, hey, this set they played this song and it's something new every time you go. So it's not just like you're going to see the same thing over and over again. That's what I would say for that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's really finding a good mix of the two because, I mean, you obviously want to play a decent amount of live shows, so, I mean, you get your music out there, people come and see you. Plus, just playing live shows is a really fun thing to do. But you also want to have a good discography because, I mean, look at a band like Bring Me the Horizon who has, like 6 albums and is about to release a new one.
Yeah, all different, too.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
With a huge diversified sound, which, I mean, I feel like we try to emulate in a sense because, I mean, we're always writing, we're always thinking about writing new music, but we're also trying to get shows booked, trying to get connections with people to try to branch out and move up.
The way I like to look at it is right now it's like the very early beginnings, and that like even though we've been a band, like especially with Alexander, like they've been playing in this band since like 7th grade. Like it's gone back years, but I feel like just now is like just the beginning of the band, and like I see in 5 years that 5 years is a long time, by the way. Like I'm 18 years old now. In 5 years, I will be 23.
You can do math. Good
like,
job.
All right, but I'm just putting that in perspective. Like the amount we've accomplished in just 2018 is so much, and if we continue at this rate, I see us basically getting on a national level and hopefully an international level with our music to where we can play shows like across the country, different parts of the world. That'd be fun. I like Britain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say fame is the game because I don't want to sound cynical. Like, I'm not just looking for fame. But, I mean, with the traction we've made in 2018 since I've joined, you know, it's been crazy. I mean, if we keep up what we're doing, I mean, I'd say even less than 5 years, I mean, we'll be on a national level.
The most influential band that we've played with, I would have to go with a couple different options just because they all have their own categories. Like, our friends in Assault really, like, have always been on their game with networking and, like, getting to know everyone in the Cleveland scene and, like, really getting around, branching out Northeast Ohio. So they really influenced us into step up our marketing and, like, meeting people. But then there have also been, like, other bands. We opened for a band called Open Your Eyes once, and one thing that they did that gave us great insight was they showed us the realities of what it was to start touring and all that, and, like, how important it is to be professional with others and always treat other people with respect, because at the end of the day, when you're playing a show at a venue you've never played at before, you don't know those people and they don't know you, so if you're just a dick, you're probably not going to play there again. And most of the venues know each other, so if you're known as a dick, you're not going to get to play anywhere.
I mean, I've been in the band, I keep saying that, but I mean, like I keep saying, I've been in the band the least amount of time compared to everyone else, so I have the least, you know, traction when it comes to influences with bands we've played with. In my eyes, probably the most influential band we've played with has to be Divorce Horse, just because the bassist for them, Larry, he's giving us insight all the time on our shows. I mean, he's telling us, like, maybe areas we need to improve on or, like, how we're improving, and just generally being really supportive. And I mean, he's been in bands for a long time.
Very inspiring person.
Yeah, then, I mean, considering, I mean, what, he's in his 30s?
Yeah, he's like this guy, he's really cool because with the Divorce Horse, their band, they kind of just write what they write. And I really respect that because I feel like we try to do that in a way, and they're super about supporting bands from Canton because they're all from Canton. And we're a small city, but, like, Canton's kind of known because of the Pro Football Hall of Fame and also Akron being, like, 10 minutes away, and then Cleveland not being too long of a drive away. So it's really cool to see that support within the bands in Canton, even though there aren't that many.
Upcoming here, February 5th, we're going to be having a show at Buzzbin. Shout out Buzzbin. They're a fucking awesome venue. We love it there. But yeah, February 5th, we have a show there with a few other good bands. And then, I mean, hopefully get some more stuff here soon.
Not yet, but there should be one coming soon. I would say the spring of this year you should expect a website, because right now we're in the process of building the website, and for merch-wise, we need to restock that really bad because last show we ran out of sizes for a lot of our shirts, and we're coming up with new designs, so expect those soon. But yeah, springtime should be when we have a website up and running.
As far as, like, buying music goes, though, I mean, we have Bandcamp. Check us out there. I mean, I believe you can get a digital download for free. I think we have it set up. You can also give us money if you like. We also have our stuff on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, and, I mean, before the website, if you want merch,
Tidal,
just hit us up. I mean, shoot us a DM, any of us.
Instagram is our social media. A lot of bands do Facebook, but we aren't that active on Facebook just because to us, we've been on I've personally been on Instagram since, like, 2014, and throat's dry. So, like, that's my main source, and I would say we're a lot more active on Instagram. I know a lot of people use Facebook, but Instagram's pretty chill, so you should come over to Instagram and check us out, because we update a lot on Instagram. Facebook's a little less.
Just keep at it, because, I mean, you see how long these guys have been in a band. I mean, Alex and Anthony since 7th grade. I mean, Justin, he joined in 2015. And, I mean, we're just now getting the traction that, I mean, we've all wanted. Because, I mean, I was in bands before I joined Vollstin that never worked out because we just never really we're disciplined. So I'd say just, I mean, keep with it. Things move slow at first. Be disciplined. I mean, practice is one of the biggest things because I feel like a lot of bands, they'll just be like, oh, do you want to practice now? I mean, set up dedicated practice dates, set up dedicated days to writing. If you think of something, send it. I mean, you just have to stay really dedicated to it and be on top of it, because if you're not, I mean, you're just going to sink in with all the other local bands that don't get anywhere with anything.
Play shows, because even if you don't have the means to record your music yet, playing shows will help you get to know other people that are in your area that also are in bands, and then you can get to know people who record music. Like, if we didn't play shows, we would have never met Hayden, who recorded our EP and is recording these 2 new singles that are going to be released soon, if we didn't play a show with Black the Sun, because that is just one of those things where it's kind of like you don't know who you'll meet until you meet them, and it's really important to get to know people. So play shows, and like he said, practice, and also make sure you're putting out quality, because if you heard a band that didn't have something that sounded like something you'd listen to on a regular basis, then why would someone listen to your band if it's not something that you would say is up to quality?
Thank you, Headbangers Republic on Twitter, for having us do this interview. It's pretty fucking awesome.
Big thanks. I saw that you guys said mates, so I'm pretty sure you guys from the UK. I love the UK a lot.
Maybe they're Australian.
I'd like to think that they're UK. Anyways, Australian, mates is cool. I love their accents. Britain's really cool. They have a lot of cool artists and respect. So big thanks to Headbangers Republic.